Hey guys, Jack here from 9 to 5, and in this video I want to walk you through step by step from just using WordPress and YouTube and your email service provider to create a pretty awesome webinar funnel to run live webinars hosted on your website through YouTube, and your subscribers are going to love it. Why don't we just use Webinar Jam or EverWebinar, all the millions of webinar platforms it seems like are cropping up these days? And it's for two reasons. One is the cost. If you combine the cost of a funnel software along with the cost of a webinar software, you can start running up into thousands and thousands of dollars a year just to do something that you can do it yourself and get pretty much the same result. And in my opinion, some benefits even better than the cost. The second reason is if you are starting out, you should be spending that money on advertisement and not on the software itself. But also, if you're just starting out, you're probably working on your content marketing game as well, right? You want to be putting good content out there to be consumed, and you want Google and YouTube and all the other search engines out there to begin to see you as an authority. Now, if you use EverWebinar and all those other softwares, you are hosting your webinars off of the search engines. This isn't on YouTube. It's not increasing your watch time on YouTube or your number of views or anything of that nature. With my method I'm about to show you, this actually increases your watch time. It increases your statistics on YouTube. And also, because my method is going to have your webinar kind of housed through your WordPress blog, it's also going to decrease the bounce rate of your blog. It's going to increase the average duration that people stay on your page. It's going to increase the number of views in your blog because it's all going to be there in your WordPress. So, to recap the benefits is it's cheaper. There are some content marketing benefits. And also, in my opinion, when you control things yourself and you kind of piece it together yourself, you start to understand a bit more of the finer points behind this marketing game, and I think you'll have a better time doing it. So what we're going to do is I'll go ahead and start diving into my screen, and we'll have to break this up into a few steps because this is going to be quite a process. So I'm going to kind of give you a little overview of where we're going today. And I kind of had a little catchy title here of, how to implement an amazing webinar funnel and boost your YouTube channel while saving $4,000 plus per year. And I wanted to go ahead and just validate where that $4,000 plus per year came. So let me pull my calculator here on the screen. So let's compare this to ClickFunnels because this is in essence a funnel system we're doing here. And ClickFunnels is $297 per month. So let's go ahead and take that times 12 months. And then just before recording the video, I checked the current price of Webinar Jam, which is $500 per year. So let's go ahead and add 500 to that. And that brings you to a cool total of $4,064 for your funnel software and your webinar software. And if you were to just do those and nothing else, you wouldn't have a blogging platform, and it's kind of a mess. So that's where that headline came from, but still $4,000 saved, even if it's $3,000 or $2,000, that money, whether it goes in your pocket or into your advertising budget, is a benefit. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So the funnel is going to have a few steps, and we'll walk through and I will create those as we're going. And if I make a mistake, I'll show you where I made the mistake and I'll edit it out, but this is going to be very real and very raw. So we're going to start out, every funnel starts with an opt-in or a squeeze page, and this would be where you have a little video introducing who you are, as well as what it is that person would receive if they exchange their email address with you. This would be where you'd run your Facebook ads to, where you'd have links in your blog posts, etc., etc. Once they give you their email address, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to give them a thank you page for, saying thank you for enrolling. I appreciate that. That'll also be where you instruct them to check their email to make sure it didn't go to their spam folder. It's always good to have that kind of face-to-face interaction with your users, whether you do it with text or with your voice and video. I prefer to do it with video. It's just easier, cleaner, and I think that the more they see there's a real person on the other side of the screen, I just think that's a better thing from a trust perspective. So you'll send them to the thank you and confirm your email page, and you'll also send them that confirmation email. And I'll be using ConvertKit through this tutorial. I love ConvertKit. They've recently made some huge advances, and that's why I think that going through every step in this process is going to be helpful, because some of the new features in ConvertKit have really stepped up its game, and I want to show those to you here. Once they've confirmed their email, you're going to, one, send them the freebie that you promised them, right? You always want to make good on your promise. And you're also going to give them, so once they've confirmed their email, then you're going to wait some period of time. We'll set up a schedule here on this for when the webinar is actually going to happen. And then you'll set up in ConvertKit to automate sending them an email 10 minutes before it's time, telling them to log in with the links to the webinar, okay? And then we'll also create the webinar watch page, which is where the magic happens and where we will embed a YouTube live video as well as the YouTube chat. So as people are watching, they'll be able to chat right there, just like a Webinar Jam or other software. You'll also be able to have moderators through YouTube for free. So if your husband or wife wants to run point for you and kind of make sure everybody's doing what they need to do on the comment section, all that functionality is there. All right, so let's go ahead and just do this, right? So I'm going to now go into my WordPress. Let's just start from home here. I'm running the Divi theme from Elegant Themes. It's an amazing theme, but this process you should be able to implement with most any professional theme, whether it's Thrive, whether it is Divi, or any of the other amazing themes that are out there. So the first thing we're going to do in this process is we're going to create those 3 web pages we want. We're going to create our opt-in page, create our thank you and confirm your email page, and create the webinar page. We won't fill in all the details yet, but we'll have to create those to go through the process. So I'm going to use my Divi Builder, and I'm just going to call this page DIY Webinar Funnel Opt-in Page. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. I'll go ahead and publish it because I'm not running any traffic to it anyways, and we'll use it later on. So, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this link and just add it over here to my notepad as we go. Opt-in page URL. All right. And let's create a new page. We'll call this one DIY Webinar Funnel. Thank you for subscribing. Use Divi Builder as well and say publish. And let's copy this URL as well. And thank you page is going here. And then finally, let's create a new page. And this will be the DIY Webinar Funnel Webinar page. Publish. Okay, so we have our 3 pages here. Copy link address. Save it down here. The next thing we're going to do is let's set up the webinar itself, okay? So if you have used YouTube just publishing normal videos, you should more than likely have access to do live streaming through YouTube. There was a period of time when they were rolling out the functionality where you either had to kind of be on a wait list or slowly get given access. And also by publishing more videos, it clearly showed YouTube that you were an active user, and so you had priority to get in. At this point, I believe everybody is able to live stream, and if I'm wrong, leave it in the comments below. Check me on that. But I have done some live streams in the past through some other little hobbies of mine, like trading options or doing other things for fun. And so what we're going to do is from your Creator Studio dashboard, let's go ahead and leave this. We'll do it together here. So from your Creator Studio dashboard, you should have a section over here called live streaming. So we're going to dive into the live streaming section. And here's where you'll be able to change your thumbnail. I created a quick little thumbnail for this video, but you can put whatever you want to in there. and give it a title. So I'm going to call mine How to Create a DIY Webinar Funnel on the Cheap and Save Thousands per year. You can add whatever description you want to. And then, like any webinar, you want to actually schedule it so they know when to expect you to show up. As part of this, we'll give them the link to the webinar before it's actually ready, before the event has happened. And what's great about this is if you look at this, you'll see waiting for Jack from 9 to 5, and it shows the scheduled time. So even if they show up early, there's going to be something on the screen, and it's going to actually have a countdown clock for the user so they know that things are progressing. It just hasn't happened yet. So let's go ahead and schedule this. Let me move so I can see my clock down here. So it is 10:30. Let's say we're going to do this tomorrow on Halloween. Yes, the night before Halloween, I am recording videos about funnels. So let's do it Halloween at 8 p.m., right around trick-or-treating time. I don't think we'll have a good turnout. All right, you can do any of this here. So an important step here is privacy. So you have two options here. The option is you either make this an exclusive event for the people that opted into your lead magnet through your opt-in page, or if you have, let's say you have 1,000 people on your email list, but you have 5,000 people who have subscribed to you through YouTube. Here's kind of a pro and cons, and you might do some testing and decide which way you want to go with it. But option one is you leave it unlisted over here. And that way, your subscribers, when it's time to go live, your subscribers won't have the heads up to go through with it. But the people on your list, obviously, because you'll be marketing it through email, they'll be able to go in and they'll have the link to the video. The other option is to go ahead and leave it as a public video, at which point both your YouTube subscribers and your email subscribers would have noticed that it's happening. The difference is going to be your YouTube subscribers would either need to go to your YouTube channel homepage and see that you have that event scheduled in the future, or depending if you have that set up on your YouTube channel home, or they would find out like at the moment of when you go live, and that might not give them the right time to plan for your webinar, right? So test it out, see which way you want to do it. For this one, I'll make this unlisted because I think that overall that makes more sense. If you're publishing consistently and you have this scheduled out for a week or two, you can simply let your YouTube subscribers know through your videos that this is coming up, and then you can add a link in your description to your squeeze page. That way, anybody who is a YouTube subscriber but not an email subscriber, they have one more reason to get on your email list, and then they'll be in the know. Okay, so unlisted is what we'll do here. All right, so now you see once we made that change, up here we see we're going live in 21 hours. So this is actually what's going to show up on the view page when we get there, but we're not there yet. All right, I'm not going to go into how to set up your own broadcasting software. I'll do another video, and I'll probably link to it at the top, right? Because that'll be one of the next videos I do. So by the time you see this, I should have a YouTube video popping up here. And I'll show you what to do with that server URL and stream name and key. But just in case you are curious, you can research OBS. It's Open Broadcasting Software, and that's what I love using. It's very, very high powered, and it's free and open source. So very fantastic tool for streaming from your computer. And that's what that information is there for. All right, so now that we're pretty much done here, we have our funnel set up, our thumbnail set up, our description, our unlisted, our schedule. We're going to go ahead and copy this URL right here and add this one to our notepad as well. And let's see here. Webinar video. And this is going to be an important one right here. Okay. So we're done there. Now let's go ahead and set up our email automation in ConvertKit. I'm trying to do this with the fewest numbers of back and forths, so we'll be able to set everything up in ConvertKit at this point. So this is one of the new features, the most amazing new feature of ConvertKit is their visual automations section. So what we're going to do is, And I do know that, other services have had this for a little while now, but I think that as ConvertKit continues to expand on theirs, they're going to be able to grow extremely quickly. So let's go ahead and create a new automation here. And what's great about this is that from this single view, you can do pretty much everything, very kind of streamlined. So let's create a new automation. We'll call this a DIY webinar funnel in one video, just for some fun. So we're going to start creating our automation. And the first step is we're going to create the form that the user is going to put their email and their name in to get access to the webinar. So let's create a new form. We'll just do a simple form over here, and you have some options. Do you want a pop-up? Do you want something to kind of be in the middle of your stuff, or just a simple item here? Let's do this first option here. It's pretty non-intrusive. And instead of join the newsletter, we're going to say sign up for the free webinar. Subscribe to get our latest content. I'll say ready to save thousands with your webinar funnels. Give the email address, subscribe. You could have, switch that around to do your name and email, but you guys can figure that out. And that looks good. So let's go into our settings here. That'll pop out a new window, and we can rename this. Let's name this DIY webinar funnel opt-in form. Okay. Looks good. So this is just going to be a form to embed on your site. Now, what happens once they subscribe? Here, we're going to redirect them to another page. And here's where we're going to put in the page that we just created. So our thank you, here it is, thank you page URL. We're going to have them go here as soon as they subscribe. And save that. Let me just get myself out of the way here. Save that. And we'll go into the embed section here. And there's one little line of code. You'll be able to copy this. And I'll also add this to the notepad because I want to do everything we need to in ConvertKit now. So ConvertKit embed code. Put that guy in there. We'll add that to our opt-in page in just a minute. And let's go to our incentive email. So we're going to change, you can have multiple email addresses. I'll change the email address it's coming from. Subject, confirm your subscription. That's fine. You can make this pretty if you want to. So once they have signed up and they've confirmed their subscription, you have an option. If you want to give them a little downloadable, or if you want to just send them to the webinar page, I'm going to send them to the webinar page because that will show them where it is, and it'll also show for them the time remaining, and it'll allow them to add a calendar event or a reminder based on that. So let's go ahead and put our webinar page URL, which is created over here, and we're going to put that in this section here. And that should do it. So now we have our email, our subscription, our embedded page here. You can make this pretty, of course, but that's not really what we need to do in this video here. Okay, so our form is good. And I'm going to bounce back over here. And so we've made a form, but that's not the only bit of our automation we need, right? So once they have subscribed, we can do a couple of things. One thing that I always like to do is we can tag those users that have come through here. So I'm going to create a new tag, and I'll just call this DIY webinar funnel subscribers. Okay. So now our opt-in, they've opted in. We've tagged them. Now the next thing you can do is let's go ahead and wait for a period of time. So we scheduled this. Let me just bounce back here and see. We scheduled this for 8 p.m. on October 31st, right? So we can do an wait event for a date to occur. And we can set up our October 31st at, let's say, at 7 p.m. So we'll give them an hour to get on. So here, obviously, if you were running this and trying to run real traffic into this, you'd probably want to have more emails than that leading up to it. But this kind of gives you the idea. All right, so when this date occurs, we can send them another email. So we can do an email sequence, and we can create a new sequence very easily. Isn't this easy? Isn't this? I love this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead. Sometimes I forget to publish when I'm working through something quickly like this. So I'll go ahead and publish it, and I'll say, it's happening. Your webinar, your DIY webinar funnel creation is about to begin. Log in now. And here, let's go ahead and just say, I'm so excited to share this with you. Click here to join the webinar. And I'm going to select all that, and I'll create a link here. And let's take that webinar page once again and put that guy in there. And we'll go ahead. You could set up tagging as well in ConvertKit, but that's kind of, that's out of scope here. You could tag them to say, clicked on webinar link or viewed webinar, whichever logical way you want to segment those users out. But we'll skip that for now. You guys get the idea. And let's just go into our settings here. And make sure you just put it from the right email address. When the emails are sent, this is kind of, it doesn't make sense in this context because normally, when you send sequences, you might choose to have them skip Sundays and whatnot. But here we're forcing it to wait until that certain time, and then we're sending a one email sequence, so it doesn't really matter. And just kind of double checking. Everything looks good here. So you could exclude subscribers if you wanted to, but I don't think that really makes sense in this case. Okay. Sequence was updated successfully. So now let's just go back and let's name this guy also. It's time for the webinar sequence. All right. So if we click back, oops. Let me just, save. Hold on now. One thing, ConvertKit will pop out multiple tabs, so you have to make sure you save all the tabs. All right, so it's time for the webinar sequence was saved successfully. Go back to our content just to make sure. All right, looks good. Let's make sure that it refreshes over here. I'll just hit my refresh button. There we go. Okay. So now they've opted in. We've tagged them. We're waiting for the time before the webinar begins. And then we're sending them the email that it's time to go. At this point, we're done with ConvertKit. Not too bad, right? So the last piece of the pie is to build out those pages in the in WordPress. So let's just go back to our overview here and just see what we're expecting to have happen. So we're going to go to the opt-in page, put a video in there, and then that's going to send you to the thank you page and trigger that email going out. Then we'll wait for that period of time. I could have added a delay icon here, but then we're going to see when it's time to go, send an email instructions to the webinar, and then a link to the webinar page. All right, let's see if we can make this happen on the first try. So we'll start from the beginning. Let's go ahead and start with our opt-in page. So we'll go back to all of our pages. All right. So Divi is fun, and I'll show you why I like it so much. I'm going to go straight into the Visual Builder. And this is kind of very similar to Thrive, similar to ConvertKit and all those. Very kind of what you see is what you get on the layout here. So I'm going to create some text, and this will just be my headline. And let's go ahead and make a quick little header that says, are you tired of spending thousands on your webinar funnels? Sign. I like to move this on the side here. sign up for a free training. Sign up for a free training on how to implement your funnels for free using YouTube. I would definitely spend more time on the copy here if I was actually doing this. You kind of space it out here on your page, however you want to do it. And let's make these like that. All right, good enough. I'm not really a copywriter. The next thing you can do is let's go ahead and get my head out of the way. Move you back down here. Hit check there. Like I said earlier, I like having videos on. I just feel they're very personable. So we'll include a video, as easy as that. And I'll go straight to the opt-in video I uploaded before recording here. And you just put it in very simply. That shows up. All right. And then the last step to our opt-in page. So we have a little headline, could be catchier. We have a video kind of explaining what it is they're going to get, and kind of show you real quick. Hey guys, Jack here from 9to5. Are you starting out with your entrepreneurial journey? You get the idea, and you can go to the web page because this will be left live after this is done. And then after this, let's go ahead and include the ConvertKit email list form that we just did, and they call that code in Divi language. So we'll go ahead and put our opt-in ConvertKit embed code we could put down here. Copy that. Put it into the content section. Now here, don't freak out. If you're using the Visual Builder, you won't see it in the preview. So once we feel good about it, which I do at this point to kind of see how it looks, always, 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 when you're using Divi, remember to hit that save button often. You'll see it finish. Check. And here you can just exit the Visual Builder, and you'll see nothing's going to change, but it's now you're at a live web page. No previewing, none of that. And now you can, it still says join the newsletter. I don't like that. Let me see what's going on here. So, hey, not perfect yet, but let's go ahead and go back into ConvertKit and see why this did not save. So we called this, oh, you know why? Because I didn't hit save. That's why. Okay, sign up for your free webinar training. Stop spending thousands on webinar and funnel software. And let's just here, we'll call this get access. All right. And we'll hit save here. I want to make sure, well, let's just double check. So the beautiful thing is, if all that was correct, we should be able to just hit the refresh button. There we go. Okay, no big deal. Always, always hit save. So sign up for your free webinar training. Now, when they click get access, the way we set this up is we're going to redirect them to the webinar funnel. Thank you for subscribing page. So let's go ahead and build that one next because we're done with this guy. Easy. And go back to our dashboard. Go back to our pages. And let's do our DIY. Thank you for subscribing. Let's do an edit there. You see how easy this is? This isn't that bad. And let's do the same thing. I like the Visual Builder. Let's go straight here. And this is an easy one. This, honestly, this page doesn't have to exist. I just like it to exist because I want to give them a personal thank you for trusting me with their email address. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's put some text in here. And let's just call it for subscribing or for signing up for the free training. And I'll also down here say, make sure to confirm your subscription in your email inbox now. It may be in your spam folder. Right? Let's go ahead and make this centered. And then we also pre-recorded a video for here. So let's go ahead and put that in also. Let me go back to my notepad and the thank you video. Here it is. I know I'm going kind of fast, guys, so feel free to watch this a couple times, or leave a comment if this is a good pace or not a good pace, because there's a lot we're covering. I just don't want to kind of waste too much time. So now at this point, they're going to see this page. Thanks for signing up for the free training. Make sure to confirm your subscription, and if you watch the video. Hey guys, thank you so much for opting in to my free training on webinar funnels, and it's in your inbox right now. So do me a favor and go check. So I think I'm recording the computer audio as well, so you can hear that also. But when you go to this page, you can kind of see how that looks. And now the next step in the funnel, let's just go back to our kind of blueprint here. So we've opted in, we've thank you and confirmed. The next step, they should be receiving a confirmation email, and then later on instructions, a link to the webinar. We've set all that up. So the last thing that we should have to do is set up this webinar watch page. So let's do that now. And again, save, save, save. All right, so now let's go back to our dashboard and pull up that final page. And this is where things are a little bit more complicated, but not really. It just requires knowing the right HTML to go in there, which I do. Okay, so like everything else, let's start out with, and here you don't need to have a headline. We will, just for the sake of kind of being uniform. We'll call this Welcome to the Free DIY Webinar Funnel. Get ready for the awesomeness. I don't know. It's getting late over here. You can probably see my time. It's 10:30. I've got 3 kids. I'm tired, but this is fun. I enjoy this. So let's do it. All right. So you got your headline. Next up. So there's 2 ways of setting this up. One way, if you think about some of the webinar platforms you might have seen or some of the webinars you've been on, when you're doing this live, and this is all kind of formatting, so it doesn't really change the code. I just want to talk about it real quick. I'll kind of do this. So the 2 options are, one, you have the video in kind of big, let me get this on, like big video like this. Sorry, I'm hitting my microphone here. Right in the middle, and then below it you can have the chatting. And that works if people have smaller screens and they want to have the full size of the video there. The other option is you could have the video on the left side and the chat on the right side. It's all kind of personal preference. We'll set this one up as being top, like, one on top of the other. But it really doesn't matter. You can do it whichever way you want. And what I'll show you here is how to change the size of the videos and the chat boxes depending on what you want. So let's go ahead and put the video first. And we're going to do this one differently. I was going to just put video in, but I want to put code in, and I'll tell you why right now. Let's go to YouTube, and let's go to this watch page. Open that in a new by control clicking. Okay, so this is cool, right? So this is what you want to see embedded because it shows when it's live in 21 hours. So what we, instead of just adding that link, we have the ability to embed it. And here you have some other options. You can start it at a certain time. That doesn't make any sense. I don't want to show suggested videos when it finishes. I don't want to show the player controls because I want it to autoplay. And I don't want to, yeah, we can show the player actions. All right, so we can copy this and go back to our page, paste that code in there, and now you'll see 560 and 315 is the size. That doesn't work for me. I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. So I've kind of preset what I like it to be. Just move this over here. And let's try for a minute. 854. Oops. Sorry. 854 by 480. And you see it automatically kind of resizes there. The other thing you can do here is put some code in called autoplay. And I'm going to put this right there. Autoplay equals 1. You know what? I'm going to, that should work. That did it. Okay, cool. I missed my semicolon there. So all this code in here is in the opt-in. So if you put that in, you can see it, or you do whatever you want. You can read right off of there. That doesn't bother me one bit at all. So now we have an automatically playing video, and let's see if I can have this guy. Oops. I want this guy to be centered. And I think this is one of those center. That's not hard to figure out. You can center it however you want. I'm not going to waste the time to put that in here. So now we have our video that automatically plays. And what's great about this is that they can quickly click the reminder, and that will send them a ping to their YouTube app, or it'll send them, oops. Oh, what just happened? All right, sorry. It went away for some reason, but it just needed to be saved, and we're back here. So you have our automatically playing video. It actually is centered here on the page rather nicely. So the last piece of this pie is to add that live chat feature in there. And this one is a little bit more tricky, I guess. So let's go ahead and go back to edit. Let's get back to our visual builder here. I like it. Okay, so let's add another section underneath. Sorry about that. I just dropped my water bottle with about 20 ounces of freezing cold water onto an old computer on the floor. So that was great. So let's move on here. So now we're adding one section below, and we're going to make our chat box here. So let's do another code. And what I'm going to do is show you on this screen here, I've got the live chat embed code. So I'll just go ahead and copy this and put that in. But there's something you have to change. So here, you want your video ID to go right in that section between the V equals and the ampersand sign there. So let's go ahead and find that. So our video ID is right here when you're on the watch page. You can also see it from the Creator Studio dashboard. So let's put that guy in. And then also, there's a section here for your domain. And so you want to make sure that matches. So 9to5.com, iframe, width, and there you go. So let's go ahead and hit check. And let's hit our favorite save button. Let's see if we got this in the first try. And let's exit the Visual Builder. Hey there. So did a couple of checkings as I was going through this, and if we check the preview on the webinar page we just created, you'll see your text, you'll see the video, and you may or may not see the chat box down here, and that's because the live video hasn't started yet. And so if you embed that in there, don't be alarmed if you don't see it or anything of that nature. It should show up as it gets closer to time and as you start to stream from your broadcasting software. And if it doesn't, even if all else fails and your chat does not show up, you will always have that view on YouTube button in your video. And so if you were to click on that and bounce over to YouTube, you would have all the same functionality obviously there. The reason why we don't do that by default and go straight to YouTube is for a couple of reasons. One is you want to make sure that people stay on your site. When they're on YouTube, you have all these shiny object syndromes going on. You have all these other related videos that pop up in their sidebar. So you want to make sure that if they're there for your webinar, first of all, it's your job to be engaging. Nothing is going to do that job for you, but you want to minimize the number of distractions. That's why we're setting this up as a nice clean page where there's very little to get distracted from the user's perspective. And the second reason is the more time people are spending on your webinar page, on your blog, on your website, on your WordPress website, you're increasing your time people spend on the page on the website on WordPress, as well as increasing your watch time and your number of views in YouTube. So kind of a couple different benefits of doing it this way. Okay, so that was a lot. So right now we're somewhere around 35-40 minutes once I trim down some uhs and ahs here and there. So let's just kind of recap what we did together. So we went from having a WordPress blog and having a YouTube channel to now having a pretty much fully functioning webinar funnel that works both from a live perspective. This was designed for live, but something I didn't tell you is that once the live video has ended, your page will still be fully functional. What it will do is it'll turn into just a normal YouTube video embed. And let's be honest, whenever we're doing evergreen webinars, that's all we're doing. We're going to a web page and we're watching a video. So all that functionality is there, evergreen or live, which is fantastic. I put together this little, I think it's 7 pages. It's a 7-page little instruction manual. I don't know if you'd call it an ebook, but it's kind of walking you through the process we just did, because I know I talk kind of fast. I kind of paused the video here and there as we were going along. So if you want a nice, easy kind of walkthrough that gives you the visual and then shows you what you need step by step, I'll also go in and update with some timestamps from the video, and I'll put those timestamps in the description if you want to jump to a certain section of the walkthrough, just to kind of give yourself a refresher. And yeah, so what I'll do is I will go ahead and actually embed this document into the thank you page that you get redirected to once you sign up. So go ahead and sign up in. Go to that webpage. So I'll put the link in the description below as well if you want to kind of go through this test funnel and see how it works. Even if it's after the time, you'll still be able to kind of get the download here and see the webpage in action. So I hope this was helpful. If you like these types of videos, I was thinking about splitting it up in small little chunks and showing each one, but I thought it'd be kind of cool and challenging for me to kind of go through and build it all right here in front of you. In one fell swoop. So if you appreciate it, if you liked it, leave a comment below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. See ya.